Hello, and welcome to Sound and Communications VIEWpoint. My name is Steve Rynbrandt. I'm with Science Applications International Corporation. And joining me today is Mr. Ernie Bailey. He's the Director of Audiovisual Services for University of Arkansas for Medical Sciences. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Our topic today is to discuss how better system integrators can communicate with universities to make that make the end products better, meet the needs of the universities, and hopefully simplify the process a little bit and come up with better methods.
I think really the key word you said there was communicate, and that's the key to it. Communicate with us. Technology managers at most, at least major universities, have a good, strong AV background, and they know pretty much what they want. But we could work with our faculty members and the integrator, as we discussed earlier, quite often as an interpreter. We know what the faculty members, the end users actually in the classroom, want, what they need to present their information.
Sure.
And we know the AV industry, and we know that the integrators that we're dealing with know how to fulfill the needs of our faculty members, and like I said, we will work as the communicator between the two.
When a university first contacts a system integrator, or vice versa, what are some of the main things that universities looking for in a systems integrator? Are they looking for past experience with universities, or is there something that a systems integrator that might not have had much experience with universities in the past can offer and bring value to universities?
Well, we do, of course, I think like anybody, like to see experience in similar markets. Mm-hmm. But if we find someone who, has done system integration outside the university market, as long as they're willing to talk with us and show us what they've done and let us see, what they can do, what their capabilities are, then I think we're ready to work with them.
Is there a particular area or particular expertise that you look for? Maybe we all know that video conferencing and distance learning is just exploding in post-secondary education.
Right. We're doing a lot of video conferencing, a lot of distance education in different venues, lecture capture systems, collaborative learning tools where the students can participate from their home via either video conference or audio conference and still get the presentation material over the internet, or they can be in the classroom. I want one integrator who can do everything is really what I want. I don't want a
one-stop shop.
A one-stop shop. I don't want to have to bring in someone separate to do the video conferencing or the lecture capture. I want it to be able to incorporate it all into one package.
Mm-hmm. So is that something then, if a systems integrator were to have a separate subcontractor, that's something that's frowned upon within the universities?
I don't know that it's frowned upon. Okay. I want one person that I'm dealing with, and okay. I think most of my colleagues would say the same thing.
A common point of contact.
A common point of contact, and the same person we go back to if we have problems or challenges down the road with the system. We go to that same person, and he doesn't say, well, I subcontracted that out, you need to call this other person. I don't want to have to do that.
And with that, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with Sound and Communications VIEWpoint.
Bosch Communication Systems, a business unit of Bosch Security Systems, is now one of the world's leading manufacturers and suppliers of professional audio, wireless, life safety, and communication equipment. Bosch Communication Systems offers complete system solutions for the world's most critical high-profile installations and events. Together, the future sounds secure.
Stewart Film Screen announces contemporary cabaret screens for multimedia installations. With features that are installer-friendly, including choice of motors and easy setup adjustments from the screen's housing front. Stewart Film Screen is also introducing Ambient Shade, a window treatment product that controls sunlight in commercial and residential applications.
Welcome back to Sound and Communications VIEWpoint. Ernie, one of the things you mentioned that you thought was critical was communication. And certainly one of the big keywords for the past 5, 7, maybe even 10 years in the industry has been convergence, meaning the convergence of the traditional audiovisual work and technology with that of the information technology and networks. That's a big thing in our industry. And certainly we're having to work with IT providers and IT departments at the universities. What are some of the things that we need to give to you and things that we need to know from you as well?
Okay. Well, you will find on many campuses that the AV and IT departments are one department now. That's not true on my campus, but we are seeing a lot of that convergence around the world at this time. But as far as the AV integrator goes, or the integrator goes, just being upfront with what you need from us. If you're putting in a video conferencing system, how many IP addresses do you need? Does your equipment require static IP addresses, or can we use the campus dynamic system?
Is that's a big point right there? Is there a within the university circles? Is there a preferred method there? Do you prefer a static or a dynamic? And what's easier for your departments to manage?
Well, it used to be a lot easier to manage especially for video conferencing, a static IP address. But with the new gatekeepers that we're seeing out there, that is not anywhere near as important as it used to be. But we just need, some equipment may require a static IP address.
Sure.
Maybe the management system you're using to look at all the equipment might work better with static IP addresses. Communicate with us up front at the beginning of the project exactly, what you need to make your system work best on our campus. Our IT people can work with you. But if you wait till you're in the field doing the install and say, hey, we need 8 IP addresses in the next half hour to meet your deadline,
it's not going to work. It's too late.
not. It may be too late. Depending on who we have available to get that information to you. So,
and what about are there issues with security? And it seems generally the AV products, which really now many AV products are actually IT products, and many of them have Ethernet ports. What's the general view of those? Is there still a hesitancy for IT managers to place those kind of devices on their networks? And I guess maybe a little more specifically with video conferencing. Video conferencing used to be seen as a bandwidth hog. How are those things being taken now?
As far as the bandwidth hog, bandwidth is not anywhere near as big of an issue as it used to be. One, we're seeing video conferencing use less and less bandwidth, and we're seeing more available on our campuses, as the systems are strengthened. So that's not a big deal. As far as the security of the system and putting the equipment on the network, I've had a real good working relationship with our IT department and have not had an issue with that. We can do it. They'll provide, all the connection points that I need, and let us know, what is okay and what's not. I do know that some of my colleagues around the country have difficulty doing that. So it's a campus-by-campus issue. It's something you will want to bring up at some of the preliminary meetings as an integrator saying,
Sure.
This projector is networkable. Do you want to put it on the network? And this is what you can do with it on the network. Is it just a security issue? Will it report back to me?
Sure.
Can I control it?
And just because it's an Ethernet device and it's networkable doesn't mean that it has to be.
Correct.
Yeah. So that we've kind of seen a little bit of that if a device has a particular Ethernet port, then it just pretty much is assumed that it needs to be on the network, and that's generally not the case.
We found that it's not the case on a lot of things. We are requiring for general contractors or renovators coming on our campus, if they're doing any type of meeting room or conference room that may in the future have a projector, we're requiring a power outlet and a network jack be put in the ceiling. We've specified how far back from the projection screen area and exactly what we want. Mm-hmm. So we can attach it to the network.
Sure. Future availability.
Exactly.
And, future proofing for that matter.
Yes.
So, okay. And that'll conclude this edition of Sound and Communications Viewpoint. I'd like to thank Mr. Ernie Bailey for joining us today. I'm Steve Rynbrandt, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.